Forms are used for getting user input. This is in every single web application to use. They are in register forms, they are in login forms, they are in payment forms, they are everywhere. And in order to manage forms, you need to use React Hook form. But let's say that you want to do it the traditional way. So you need to track all of your inputs via state. You need to be sure when they are submitted, they are in a correct length, they are in a correct format. I'm going to give you an example. Imagine that you write your password and you send it, but there's a restriction. The password must be at least 8 characters long, or it must have lowercase, uppercase letters, as well as symbols and numbers. So you get the point. And maybe for a small application, it doesn't hurt to be traditional. But imagine you have a big project where you have 20, 30 input fields. This is a common scenario if you are a web developer at a company. Let's say you make a web application for a website which is related to healthcare or to a government or to whatever it is going to have a lot of inputs. So you need to know how to manage them, because the traditional way has some drawbacks. If you declare state for every single input, you need to track, let's say, 20 inputs. For 20 input fields, you need to have 20 states. Then you need to be sure that they are in the correct format, the correct length. And the problem with that is that the code becomes super long. And when it becomes super long, it's harder to maintain, it's more prone to errors, and it takes longer for someone new to the project to read this specific file with the inputs. So it is more prone to error, as I said. It's going to cost more money to the company, more time to the developer. It has just a lot of drawbacks. For a small application, maybe it doesn't hurt, but for something that's medium or bigger, then you need to use some libraries such as React Hook form. So right now I'm going to show you React Hook form. Before showing you React Hook form, I want first to make a form the traditional way. So let's start. Here I'm going to declare first the state, const state set state is equal here to an empty object, and let me import it from dot, control dot. Here it is. Then we need to track the input fields, so each input field, and in order to do that, since I have an object, you see automatically Copilot suggest the handle change function. I'm going to click tab, and here it is. It takes the name of the input and it assigns as a property its value. So the name property is this one. It's going to be first name, last name, email, password, and confirm password. Then I need to attach to every single input, so I'm going to select them with the Alt key, every single one, and I'm going to attach to them the onChange handle change. Here it is. Then I want to declare my handle submit function, const handle submit. Here it is. And we need to prevent the default behavior, of course. Then I want to write on submit and to attach the handler function to the event. I want to make them controlled, so we need to write value state first name, as you see here, and here we get an error because it doesn't exist. Okay, I'm going to provide, we need to write them here because use TypeScript. So first name, last name, you see them, first name, last name, email, password, and confirm password. They are all of them, the 5 properties, they are a string. Then we need to repeat that process. You see it's getting tiring for something such simple. Then the value, email, value, password, and value, confirm password. After that, we need to make an errors object to track the errors. Below the state, I'm going to make errors, set errors, and it's going to begin use state, an object, and is going to have the type of T error. Oops, like that. Here I'm going to create types.ts, and we're going to create the error. So type T error is going to be equal to first name is going to be with a question mark because it may not have that error. Then the last name, email, password, and confirm password, and of course then we export it. The error, it should be with the type keyword, of course. And we're going to make for the state, I forgot to make that earlier, the state is equal to, here it is, and let me export it as well. Here I'm going to provide the T state, oops, and let me import both of the types, and T error, just like that. Then let's start typing the handle submit function. Here I'm looking at my other monitor. First, I want to reset the errors. So if we have any errors from a previous submission, I want to reset them. Set errors is going to be here an empty object. Then we check if the passwords match. If state.password is not equal, then it automatically populates it, but I prefer to do this syntax with the previous one. Here is complaining cannot find name confirm password. Here it is the confirm password. Here I need to wrap it in parentheses, that's why we get that error. Okay, right now we have no error. Then after that we need to check if our entries are empty. If we have even one empty value, object.entries, state for each, here Copilot suggested correctly. Yes, this field is required, but I want to make the dynamic so the user knows exactly which field is it. And here key. This field is required, and here a colon. Then I want to check if the length of the password is less than 6 characters. If, and it should be inside that function, if key is equal password and length is less than 8 characters, you can write it as a 6 or 8 characters, it does not matter. Okay, let me make it actually 6 characters, and then we make the backend request if everything is correct. And here I get an error, probably I forgot here a parenthesis, yes. And we can even check if the email is in the correct format. Right now I don't want to go to Google and to copy some regex for the email, but you get the point. You need to do a lot of checks here. And then we of course want to display the errors if they exist. Below the input, here I'm going to check errors (first name), and here Copilot automatically populates it. Let me just remove the sidebar. Error first name. Let me write it here below that input for the last name. Here it is, and we repeat that process. Luckily I have Copilot, otherwise I will waste a lot of time typing this repetitive stuff. And for a confirm password, okay, let me check actually if it's working. So right now if I click on the register account, this field is required first name, this field is required last name, this field is required email, password must be at least 6 characters, this field is required. Okay, let me populate them at gmail.com. Here 123 123 123 123. Right now if I click on register account, we have no errors. If I type 1 here in the confirm password input field and I click register, passwords do not match. So right now we see how much boilerplate code we need to write for something so simple, and this is only with 5 input fields. As I told you earlier, imagine if you have 20 or more, 30, 50, it's going to be very messy. You need to track every single input field, and this is going to be very tiring. So luckily for us, a React hook form exists. So let me show you a React hook form. Again, I have that form. Okay, let me open the terminal and install npm i react hook form and Zot. React hook form is going to be for managing our form, and Zot is going to be for declaring our schema. First I'm going to show you just React hook form, and then we're going to connect it with Zot. Okay, great. Let me close the terminal and let's start. First, the main thing in React hook form, there are few main things, but one of the main things, oops, what happened here? Some error, failed to load the server. I stopped the server somehow. Okay. Here it is, something happened. One of the main things here is the use form hook. Use form. This is the most important hook from React hook form, and the things that we want to structure from there are register, handle submit, and form state errors. Let me make them on several lines just to see better. Oops, here the comma, here are they. Right now we can first I want to use the register to hook up our input. So register basically is for connecting React hook form to our inputs, and we need to delete this name property, otherwise we're going to get an error. First I want to show you that we're going to get the error if you don't trust me. Register and then first name. As you see here, we instantly get an error, so let me delete it. Then I'm going to copy that, and here last name, deleting it. Again, let me copy it. Register is literally for registering our inputs. Here, oops, here the password, and then confirm password. Great. So right now I want to show you, okay, actually we need to write an onSubmit function, and then I'm going to show you how does it look. Const onSubmit is equal to data. Right now it's going to be any type, of course later it's not going to be an any type, and console log data. And this is how you attach your handler function to your onSubmit. You wrap your custom function to the function provided by React hook form, the handle submit. Handle submit is used for validating, preventing the default behavior, all of that stuff. So right now if I click on inspect, let me just get rid of those errors, and right now I try to write something 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, click on register, and this data is not the event, it is basically what we have registered here. As you see, first name, last name. So first name, last name, password, confirm password, and the email. If I write something like that, here it is empty, we have nothing. Okay, but we have no validations, that's why. Here we can provide custom validations directly. Let me write here min length is going to be equal to a value of 3, and the message here it is first name should be at least 3 characters, and I want to console log the errors. Console log errors. One, two, three, 1 2 3, and right now, of course it should be less than 3 characters. Right now we are going to write it with 2 characters. Click on register account, and here you see the error. First name should be at least 3 characters, and we don't get the data. This function doesn't run if we have at least 1 error. So if we have even 1 error, the onSubmit doesn't run. I'm going to show you more validations. This is a simple one. We can use another common one, which is the required. First name is required. This is going to be the error message. Again, if I have nothing here, delete the console, click on register. First name is required. As you see, we can even do a little bit more complex things. Here I'm going to write validate the value, and here it's auto-completed. Great. Oops, I need to add a curly brace here, that's why I get that error. And the thing that I wanted to show you is here for the email. This is the validate function is a custom function that we write. If it includes the @, we have no problem, but if it's false, here we're going to go to the string, and if we return a string instead of true, this means that we have an error. So true means that everything is correct, but if we return a string, this means that we have an error. So right now I want to show you. Just let me write some dummy data, and here I'm going to write an email in a format that is not right. Again, 1 2 3 1 2 3. Okay, here the input field is preventing me. I'm going to make the input field here a text just for you to see right now that we get the error. Let me remove that, click on register, and right now message email should include the @. Let me revert back the type of the input to an email as it must be, and let me again clear the console. Okay, let's connect our React hook form with Zot. We have installed Zot, but we need to install another dependency which is specifically for resolving the Zot schema. Here it is npm, just let me write cos npmi @hook form /resolvers. Let me make that bigger. npmi @hook form resolvers, and click enter. While it's doing its thing, I'm going to write a schema.ts file, and I'm going to import Zot here, import z from Zot, an extra curly brace here, and then const validation schema is equal to z dot object, and then first name is going to be z dot string dot min, and here is going to be minimum of 1, so it's required, and the message here is going to be the error message if the person doesn't write anything. So minimum 1 character, and then if it's an error, first name is required. Then the same for the last name. For the email is going to be quite different. For the email, yes, it is like that, but I want to provide a .min as well. Message email is required, and here this .email is specifically for checking if the email is in the correct format. This is its purpose. Then, as I see from my other monitor, then it's password, which is minimum of 6 characters, and password is required. And lastly, here we have the confirm password. Confirm password, and this .refine, I want to write it myself just to explain to you what it does. And then .refine, right now I want to write it. Refine is a custom validation function that let us write some logic that our application needs, our own business logic. And I want to write here that if the password and the confirmed password aren't equal, then we get an error on the confirmed password with a specific message. So let me write it. Data is going to be equal here to data.password. If it's equal to data confirm password, we have no problem. But if it's an error, then we're going to get that. And then we export first the type. You can infer the type automatically. Here I'm going to show you. And here I want to name it validation schema, like that. Type validation schema is equal to z.infer type of validation schema. This is super great. Instead of writing yourself the type of your schema, you just write zot or z.infer the type of validation schema, and this will show you how it is. So type is going to be validation. I'm just going to write double T just to show you how it's going to look like. Validation schema is equal here to the first name string, last name string, and so on and so on and so on, and this does it automatically from the Zot. And I want to export the schema itself, so validation schema, just like that. Let me go back here to my form with React hook form, whoops, and I want to import the validation schema, and the type T, validation schema, and here it was lowercase actually, from ._schema. I want to import the Zot resolver from hook form /resolver/Zot, and I want to import here a submit handler. This is the type of the submit function, submit handler. Great. First I want to start here with the writing the type t validation schema, and then resolver validation schema. This is how we connect our Zot schema to React hook form with this third-party library, which is the hook form /resolvers. After that, I want to go here to my on submit and declare the type of the function, which is going to be the submit handler, and here t validation schema. Oops, just like that. And here, instead of any, it's not going to be just any, it's going to be t validation schema. And right now, let me try here to submit the form. Right now, you see here the constraints that we have. Okay, here first name, last name, @gmail.com, 123, 123, 123, 123. And I want to console log the data. Right now, we are going to have no errors. Click on register, we have no errors, and here are they. But let's say that I add an extra character here to my password. Click on register account, and here you see from the .refine we have passwords do not match. Exactly this piece of logic here that we have written. So if there you go, no problem. But if that comes to a false equation, then we have that message to this exact path. This is the message, the error message. This is to which path is going to be. So to the confirm password in our case. Great. Let's say that I want to make my password 5 characters just to see the error. Just let me click on register account, and here are they. Password is required, and here password is required. Great, so we know that it's working. And here let me remove the com and the dot, let's say, and right now I'm going to click on register account, and here it is, the email, invalid email. So we know that this is working. And of course I want to display my errors below here, below the input. So let me start writing them. If errors first name, oops, okay, we have completed that. Then I want to write for the last name. Here I want to remove this custom validation from React hook form itself. Here for the email, here for the password, and what happened here, and then lastly for the confirm password. And you see right now how they pop up. Password is required. Right now if I click 3, it's removed, then it's removed. .com. Right now we have no errors. If I remove that field, first name is required, we don't even need to submit it. We just, if it detects if there is an error. But if I refresh here and I start typing, we have no error. But if I remove that, I still have no error. It's after the first submit, the first unsuccessful submit, that is going to appear. So right now, first name is required, I type it, but then I remove it, it's getting back here. And as a bonus, I wanted to show you enums. Imagine enums. It's an array, but it has, let's say, 5 values. And if you want to use one of its elements, it must be, let's say, one of them. What do I mean? It's kind of confusing when I explain it. I'm going to explain it like that. It must be one of those values here. That is an enum. You can type meaning of enum JavaScript. Used to represent, yes, a fixed set of named value. This is the much better way of explaining it rather than I first tried. And here you have a checkbox or a radio, to be more specific. Yes, a type of a radio, which means that you can select only one of them. And how I've done it. Here I have an array of objects with the label being the same as the value. So here we have some start and end ages from 18 to 24, 25 to 34, and so on and so on. Here, type of age options numbers means that it's a union type. So this age options type is one of them. So it's one of those objects, as you see here. When I hover, it's either this one, or either this one, or either this one, or either this one, etc, etc. This is again the same thing, but it takes the value property, so it's either one of it, or that, or that, or that, and so on and so on. And here z.enum, we are going to export these values here, as you see. But what z.enum has by default, let me make that full screen, it expects a non-empty array. So to work around that, we put the first value out explicitly. Shout out to the guy in Stack Overflow. This guy is a genius, I would say. And this means that we need to take the first value explicitly. Just the 0th index, we take it straight away. And then we slice from the first to the end. This is what this means. Slice 1 means that we start from the first index to the end of the array. And we take the value property, which is exactly this age. And then we export the values and the age options. Then in the schema, we just import it. So as you see here, the values is going to be one of those things here. It's either being this element or this or this or this. This is what enum means. You have a fixed elements, and when you want to extract to have some, let's say a radio button, you need to be only one of them. As you see here, we have 6 elements, and right now let me try to fill everything just to show you how it works. I may not explain enums the best way, but I'm going to show you right now how it works. And right now when I click here, you see the object age we have selected from 35 to 44, and here it is. If I try to select 65 plus, clicking, and here you see plus 65. And this was React Hook Form and Zot. The last one was a bonus for the enums. I hope you liked that video. Subscribe, comment, and see you in the next video. Bye.